Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, Minister of Homeland Security and Tunapuna MP Roger Alexander issued a strong appeal to citizens to reject divisive forces and maintain national unity. In other words, don't listen to people like myself who are calling out for justice. Highlighting the message, national media noted, or mainstream media noted, his emphasis on standing together as a collective whole to preserve the country's social fabric. What is your country's social fabric? TTPS? That's the only thing you worship and glorify, Roger. TTPS alone. He specifically warned against letting conflicting interests drive a wedge between communities, reiterating his broader political commitment to solidarity, local collaboration, and civic strength across the nation. People are uniting right now, so what are you talking about? My response, you, Roger Alexander, John Jeremy, Padarath, and Queen Kamala are the ones who are causing division amongst our peoples. You and the UNC party and their fanatic members, they are the ones that are causing division amongst the peoples right now. Instead of demanding the TTPS to perform their duties in a lawful manner, all of you continue to make excuses for members of the TTPS who were seen shooting at Joshua Samaru 19 times while his hands were in the air. You still don't get it, do you? And you know, the activists outside there will come out and say, and the UNC, the officials will come out and say, you don't know the whole story. It does not matter what happened prior to what we saw in that video, people. The reality is, even if Joshua Samaru did committed a crime, he surrendered. His hands were up in the air, and therefore he should have been arrested without the use of deadly force. We also know that the zoomed up video is full of propaganda. The shots that were fired, that hit the back glass, entered into the vehicle and exited through the windscreen. We have all seen the original video. So the lies must stop. The lies must stop. I went on to say, instead of the Queen showing empathy for citizens who are crying out for justice, she accused us of being agitators. She's accusing the young woman, Alyssa Phillips, of being an agitator. I'm Nyla Blackburn of being an agitator. Now, they didn't come out directly and say either of these. Well, I'm not sure about Alyssa Phillips, but I don't know if she came out and said anything about Nyla Blackburn, but I'm speaking in general. She didn't say anything about me directly either. But anyone that is opposing the TTPS and the UNC right now are considered agitators. That's the reality. The only individuals who are supporting this government at this point in time are UNC fanatic activists and some of their members, some people. I am telling you, I know people personally who do not like what is taking place. But you see the online crew, yeah, I don't know if they're being paid. I am not being paid by anyone. I've never been paid. When I was condemning Emperor Thanos Rowley all years, people thought I was being paid as well, and I was never paid a cent. And I will never take any payment from anybody to do what I do. Never. When I'm talking about politics, I'm from a politician. Nobody can pay me to run my program because no one can control what the content that I have on it and dictate what I should say or not say. I guarantee you that UNC will lose at least 1/3 of their base before the local election is announced next year. And I do believe it could end up even being 2/3, especially by 2030. I personally know UNC supporters who are disgusted with this regime's draconian laws and policies. They started to turn against the UNC ever since the UNC started with the PNMs, taxes, fees, and fines. And now worse yet, we were once against the UNC, myself included, were once against censorship. We were once against using lockdowns and SOEs. Now, Kamala used to be always pushing the SOE, and I should have really taken that into consideration. I should have. We should have all taken that into consideration. But she did disapprove of the lockdowns, and so far, definitely, she hasn't done any lockdown. But we should have been concerned about her promotion of the SOEs, because right now, that's how she's governing this country, via an SOE, and that is definitely wrong. But we did condemn, though, restrictions of protests, Kamala included, condemned Rowley and PNM when they were prohibiting protests and using the TTPS to infringe upon our rights to be able to peacefully protest. Now, UNC activists online are saying, lock them up, lock them up, lock them up, when we are protesting for our human rights and freedoms, our democratic rights. That is complete hypocrisy, people. It's something I will never defend and I will never tolerate. It is wrong what is taking place.
Good morning to all. We just had our distribution of plants to persons in the constituency because on Corpus Christi. I hope that everybody got up this morning, just like every other morning, and say a prayer to whoever they believe in. But I've been seeing some things on social media, and I have to wonder. In school, I remember in primary school, some persons had a difficulty with division, and I never did. I always loved the challenge. But now, I am seeing a different type of division, or an attempt really to master the art of division, even in Tunapuna right here. And what I can tell you is this: there are some persons who don't understand their role and responsibility and trying to grasp at power. I have learned over the years, it is difficult to put, when you put a crown on the head of a wild dog and then try to put a leash on him. For the persons in Tunapuna and Trinidad on the whole, don't allow persons to divide us, because for their own personal gains. And there's really nothing to be gained when you attempt that. Are you trying to divide persons by race? I don't see the benefit of it, and I will never support that. So again, Tunapuna, some persons in Tunapuna, we operate like we are. But some persons are trying to behave like some young and restless kind of behavior and trying to divide people. But I, as the MP, we are not about that. I will see what all persons in this community and outside of this community. So if there are persons who are trying to divide, you could continue to do that. I will continue to do what I have to do, which is to serve the people. Have a nice day.
Young activist Alyssa Phillips' message to the government and the rest of TNT's population. And I'm very glad that she did so, because right now they're trying to portray her as some type of agitator or minion of the People's National Movement. Just to clear things up, she said, the leaders of our 19 Bullets, 19 Protests campaign has always been from inception myself, Alyssa Phillips, my mother, Camille Cadesquero, and my childhood friend, Maria Walcott. Our names and signatures have been printed on every notice of a public gathering or protest sent to the Office of the Commissioner of Police within the last 4 months. And whenever Maria wasn't able to attend, I would have just given them the information for my mother and myself. My mother is also not very social media or tech savvy, which is why she would have remained playing her part in the background. As such, I can speak on behalf of them, and they can speak on behalf of me. The cause has gained significant support, of which we are grateful, but we cannot speak for anyone else or their actions. And of course, I'm thankful that she made this clear, because you see, right now the UNC patriots outside there, the UNC fanatics, not the normal person in our communities here, these online UNC activists, are trying to claim that the individual, the man who made very controversial, offensive statements recently, is directly associated with this movement, and that is false. That is propaganda. You understand what I'm showing you, people? The UNC is actually trying to portray this young woman as someone who discriminates against other people's faith and so forth. Now, we as Christians definitely believe in one God and so forth, but that's a whole different discussion. But we do not go about saying offensive things like that online or anywhere. We do not use that type of language that was used. A different discussion is, I don't believe that he should have been arrested for it though, but it was offensive. And this woman has nothing to do, this young woman and her group has nothing to do with that man. As everyone would know by now, my mother and I were arrested on Wednesday, 27th May 2026. We pleaded not guilty of our charges, and our bail bond was reduced from 40,000 to each to 10,000 each, as we both have no prior criminal records. Law-abiding citizens, a well-educated young woman was arrested simply for standing up for her rights and calling out for justice. The plaintiffs, that is, the officer who arrested us and his legal representatives, did not object to our reduced bail. This bail bond represents the amount of money that the court can sue us for in the event that we do not show up to our court hearings. We have never had to pay that amount in order to be released, nor would we ever have to pay it as long as we show up to court. On the night of May 28, 2026, we were released on station bail at $500 each. That is all the money we have spent concerning our arrest thus far. Once again, and regardless of any untoward accusations and allegations, this campaign has never been politically affiliated, sponsored, or funded. God bless. So you see, people, the UNC activists outside there that are trying to even claim that she is being funded by the PNM are also pushing propaganda because of their agenda. My response: in a desperate and shameful attempt to defame this young woman's character, more than the UNC activists have already done thus far, videos are now being shared online which show the guy who was arrested for insulting Kamala participating in Alyssa's peaceful protests. They're trying to imply that this young woman approves of the controversial statements made by him. Just false, people. She never approved of what he said. I am very thankful that Alyssa made this post to make it very clear to the public that she is not responsible for any statements made by other activists or politicians here in TNT. How on earth can the UNC stoop to this level of gutter politics in order to defend their precious rough men in the TTPS? God will hold all of you accountable for your actions. Rest assured about that, my dear Queen Kamala and UNC crew.
Weather report for Trinidad and Tobago, Friday, June 5, 2026. Trinidad and Tobago will feature variably cloudy, slightly hazy, and breezy conditions with scattered showers and periods of rain, peaking with an early morning isolated thunderstorm risk. The local day-to-time temperature will peak at a high of 28 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius and dip to an overnight low of 23 degrees Celsius to 24 degrees Celsius. Relative humidity will remain high between 70% to 95%. The afternoon heat index will make temperatures feel closer to 33 degrees Celsius. Winds will blow from the east to southeast at 10 to 40 kilometers per hour, with higher gusts occurring near heavier downpours. A mild concentration of Saharan dust will be present in the atmosphere, creating slightly hazy skies. Individuals with respiratory sensitivities should plan accordingly. Open waters will see moderate waves up to 2.0 meters, while sheltered areas will remain under 1.5 meters but can become choppy during rain spells.
Regional news now. The National Insurance Board's 1.5% contribution rate increase in the Bahamas has generated an average of $4 million in additional monthly income, significantly boosting the fund's financial performance beyond expectations. According to a report featured on BahamasLocal.com, this revenue surge has strengthened the organization's fiscal stability and provided a much-needed buffer for the national social security system, by surpassing initial projections. The enhanced collections help secure long-term benefit payouts for citizens while demonstrating immediate positive results from the recent policy adjustments.
Taking it a step further of increasing our inspector. These are the compliance officers that would go out to the various employers. We have increased that complement by about 22 persons so that we would have more persons available to really go out there, explain what's happening, and enforcement leads, of course, to prosecution eventually. But that's not where we start. We do allow persons to have the opportunity to take out what what persons may call a payment plan. We call it an installment agreement, to give them an opportunity to pay at a certain rate, and as they are paying on that delinquent amount, continue to be current. So they will be given a certain period of time to make it right and stay current at the same time.
International news now. President Trump praises the stunning restoration of the Christopher Columbus statue at Union Station, highlighting the massive beautification effort that saved the historic monument from being torn down. After decades of being covered in graffiti and grime, the monument's original marble was fully restored. That is wonderful news. And I wish that our peoples here in the Caribbean can look past the negative aspects of colonialism and still appreciate history in general. It does not mean that these individuals were perfect. It doesn't mean that Christopher Columbus was perfect. But we should still appreciate and recognize our colonial past.
Mr. President, about the Columbus statue, Columbus Fountain at Union Station, it looks amazing.
Thank you.
And what does that mean for the relations between Italy and the United States?
Well, it means Italian people love Trump. Because, that was controversial. People want to rip it down. You see how beautiful it is. And we didn't only not rip it down, but Doug and his group and all of us together, we beautified it. It's... I didn't know that marble was going to be so beautiful. Once we cleaned it up, you wouldn't believe it. When you saw that thing was loaded for 50 years with filth and graffiti and everything else. It's amazing. It's amazing how good. They did a really great job.
U.S. Embassy, Jerusalem. Security alert. Exercise increased caution in the Middle East. This is a message being sent from the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem. Due to high tensions in the region, the security environment remains complex and can change quickly because of course, the terrorists that surround Israel, Hezbollah. Not really that much of Hamas anymore. Hamas has almost been completely destroyed, but still Hamas. And definitely the Iranian terrorists and the Houthis. We remind U.S. citizens in the Middle East of the continued need for caution and encourage them to monitor the news for breaking developments. The State Department travel advisories for Bahrain, Israel, and the West Bank, Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates remain at level 3. Reconsider travel. So even if you're going, it's at your own risk at this point in time, because Iran targeting these places. Iran, Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, Gaza, and Yemen remain at level 4. Do not travel. Do not go there. Potential for hostilities. U.S. citizens should know the location of the nearest shelter in the event of hostilities. The Hezbollah terrorist organization launched mortar shells that hit the UNIFIL, UNIFIL position and killed a UN personnel member in southern Lebanon. I wonder if the Kakash media in Trinidad and Tobago will report about this. Overnight, the IDF identified several launches in the area of Al-Qatrani carried out by the Hezbollah terrorist organization that landed inside a UNIFIL force position in the Debine area in southern Lebanon. As a result of the launches, the UN personnel member was killed and 2 others were injured. An examination of the launch trajectory clearly indicates that the fire was carried out by the Hezbollah terrorist organization. Hezbollah's launches endanger international forces and also harm UN personnel operating in the area. And the UN usually supports all these. They pretend that they don't, but when you really deep digger, they actually defend and support these radical terrorists. And yet, look what they're doing to you. It's just like the radical far left, and the alphabet soup who support Gaza, Hamas and Gaza and so forth. If they go there, the alphabet soup goes to those places, they will never return to America.
Bible quote of the day. John 11:22-25. But even now I know that whatever you ask from God, God will give you. Jesus said to her, Your brother will rise again. Martha said to him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.